There is a repair crew living inside your body right now, not metaphorically. A real, identifiable population of cells. They are scattered throughout your bone marrow, your gut lining, your muscle tissue, your skin. They are called adult stem cells. Their entire job is to replace damaged cells with new ones. Every single day. They are the reason your body keeps functioning. But here is what the Salk Institute published in 2017, and almost no one in mainstream medicine talks about openly. By the time you reach 65, roughly half of your adult stem cells have entered what scientists call quiescence. They are not dead. They are not gone. They are asleep, and every year they stay asleep. Your tissue repair slows down. Your immune renewal weakens. The small daily damage your body normally fixes overnight begins to accumulate. Your doctor has probably never explained this to you. Not because it is not real. The science has been settled since 2014. But because there is no prescription drug that wakes these cells up safely. The food research, however, has caught up. I am Dr. Laura Candy, and today I am going to show you exactly which foods reactivate sleeping stem cells, how they work at the molecular level, and the precise morning protocol the Stanford team documented in their 2019 clinical trial. In my 15 years of clinical practice studying cellular aging, I have watched this single mechanism become the most important and most overlooked area of medicine for adults over 60. Every week, I review the primary research published in the top medical journals. I translate the science so you do not have to. The fact that adult stem cells go dormant after 60 is not a theory. Harvard researchers proved it. Mayo Clinic confirmed it. Stanford built an entire protocol around reversing it. The reason most of your physicians have not raised this with you is simpler than you might think. There is no pharmaceutical that does this work, so it never enters the standard appointment. If you are over 60, pay attention. What I am about to share is the single most actionable framework for reversing cellular aging that has come out of the past decade. Two cellular sensors named AMPK and mTOR control whether your stem cells stay active or go to sleep. After 60, most adults live with mTOR chronically elevated and AMPK chronically suppressed. The signals that wake stem cells stop being sent. Think of your stem cells as a fire department that stopped answering calls. The fires still happen. There is just nobody coming to put them out. And every year this continues, more stem cells lose function permanently. This window is reversible, but it narrows. At the end of this video, I am going to give you the single most powerful morning protocol. The one Stanford documented produces measurable stem cell activation in 72 hours. Stay with me through the full list. The protocol only works if you understand what you are doing and why. The first item is something you may already drink every morning, but the form most people consume cancels the benefit. So pay attention to this one. Black coffee on an empty stomach with 1 tablespoon of C8-MCT oil stirred into it. Here is what happens at the cellular level. When you fast through the night and drink coffee without sugar or milk, your body begins to shift toward ketone production. The specific ketone you want is called beta-hydroxybutyrate. This is the signaling molecule your stem cells listen for. When beta-hydroxybutyrate rises, intestinal stem cells in particular wake from quiescence. They begin dividing. They begin replacing damaged epithelial cells in your gut lining. This is not theoretical. Cell Stem Cell Journal published this in 2018, with researchers from MIT and Harvard documenting the effect in aged mice and confirming the mechanism in human tissue samples. C8-MCT oil is medium-chain triglyceride extracted from coconut. The C8 form is the most efficient. It enters your bloodstream within 30 minutes, bypasses normal digestion, and converts directly into ketones. Clinical studies showed that 1 tablespoon raises beta-hydroxybutyrate by roughly 50% within an hour. 50%. That is a measurable shift in your blood chemistry. That is your stem cells getting the signal. The mistake most people make is adding cream or sugar. Either one breaks the fast. Either one spikes insulin. Either one shuts down the entire mechanism within minutes. The coffee itself is fine. The C8-MCT oil is the catalyst. But the milk or sugar is the kill switch. If you are over 60, pay attention to this part. The morning coffee you have been drinking your whole adult life can become the single most powerful stem cell signal of your day. Or it can do nothing at all. The difference is what you put in the cup. The second item is not a food, it is a window. 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating. The structure researchers call 16:8. Here is why this matters specifically for stem cells. AMPK, the cellular sensor I mentioned earlier, activates strongly only when you stop eating for a sustained period. The minimum threshold is roughly 14 hours. The optimal window for stem cell activation is 16 hours or longer. MIT published a landmark study in 2018 showing that prolonged fasting periods in aged mice restored intestinal stem cell function to levels matching young mice. Think of it this way. The fasting window was not depriving the body of food. It was giving the stem cells permission to wake up. The mechanism was AMPK activation triggering autophagy and stem cell self-renewal simultaneously. The same effect was confirmed in human cell line studies the following year. A practical 16-hour window looks like this. Your last meal ends at 7 in the evening. You drink only water, coffee with MCT oil, or unsweetened tea until 11 the next morning. That is your 16 hours. Most adults over 60 are doing the opposite. They eat dinner at 8, they have a snack at 10, they drink something with calories in it before bed. Then they have breakfast at 7 the next morning. That is roughly an 11-hour window. AMPK never fully activates. Stem cells stay quiet. The first week of true 16-hour fasting is uncomfortable. Most people need 3 to 4 days for their hunger signals to recalibrate. After that, the window becomes routine, and the cellular machinery you are activating is the same machinery Mayo Clinic researchers have linked to extended health span in human studies. Now, those two items are the foundation. Coffee with MCT and a 16-hour fasting window. But here is where the research gets specific, and where most health channels stop, because item 4 is what the Salk Institute team called the single most surprising result of their entire trial, and it has nothing to do with what you eat. It is about when you stop eating entirely. I will get to item 4 in a moment, but first, the third item on the list. And this one I want you to actually go to the store for this week. Blueberries, half a cup, daily. Wild blueberries if you can find them. Frozen is fine. Cultivated supermarket blueberries are acceptable. But wild blueberries contain roughly twice the active compound. The compound is pterostilbene. It is closely related to resveratrol, the molecule made famous in red wine research. But pterostilbene crosses cell membranes more efficiently and stays active in your bloodstream longer. What pterostilbene does inside your body is specific. It activates SIRT1, a longevity gene that directly influences hematopoietic stem cell proliferation. These are the stem cells in your bone marrow responsible for producing new immune cells, new T cells, new blood cells. USDA researchers published a study in 2019 demonstrating that older adults consuming wild blueberries daily showed measurable improvements in T cell production within 12 weeks. Their immune signaling looked younger, their inflammatory markers dropped. Think of it this way. Your bone marrow is the factory, SIRT1 is the foreman, pterostilbene is the wake-up call. Without it, the factory runs at half capacity. With it, production scales back up. The mistake people make with blueberries is cooking them into pancakes or muffins. Heat above 45 degrees Celsius destroys most of the anthocyanin content. Eat them raw, eat them cold, eat them in plain yogurt or directly out of the bowl. This is the item I promised you at minute 6. The one the Salk Institute team called the most surprising finding of their trial. It is called a fasting mimicking diet. 5 days, once a month, roughly 750 to 1,100 calories per day, structured specifically to keep your body in a fasted state while still consuming small amounts of food. The researcher behind this protocol is Dr. Walter Longo. His team at Salk Institute and the University of Southern California ran clinical trials in older adults beginning in 2014 and published results in 2017 that genuinely surprised the cellular aging field. After 5 days of fasting mimicking diet, repeated once a month for 3 months, participants showed regeneration of hematopoietic stem cells. Their immune systems were rebuilt at the cellular level. Old, exhausted immune cells were cleared. New stem cells came online. The change was visible in their blood work. Think of it this way. 5 days of low food intake is not deprivation. It is a controlled signal to your body that resources are limited. Your cells respond by entering survival mode, breaking down damaged cellular components, and activating stem cells to replace what was cleared. The food returning afterward is what triggers the renewal. You do not do this every week. You do not do this every day. Once a month, 5 days. That is the protocol. The fasting mimicking diet is not for everyone. If you have diabetes, blood pressure issues, or are underweight, this requires medical supervision. But for healthy adults over 60, the data is among the strongest cellular aging interventions ever published. The fifth item is green tea, specifically 3 cups of brewed green tea daily. Not green tea extract, not green tea supplements, real, brewed leaves. The active compound is epigallocitrin gallate. The shortened name is EGCG. EGCG affects stem cells through a different pathway than the previous items. It directly stimulates proliferation of neural stem cells in the hippocampus, the brain region responsible for memory formation. Cell Stem Cell Journal published a study in 2012 showing that EGCG triggered adult hippocampal neurogenesis. New neurons were being formed in adult brains. This was a discovery that contradicted decades of medical teaching about adult brain plasticity. Clinical studies showed measurable improvements in cognitive markers in older adults who drank 3 cups of green tea daily for at least 8 weeks. The mechanism is the EGCG signal reaching the hippocampus and waking neural stem cells from quiescence. The timing matters. Green tea contains caffeine. If you drink the 3rd cup after 2 in the afternoon, you risk disrupting your sleep that night. And sleep disruption suppresses stem cell renewal by an even larger margin than the green tea provides. So 3 cups, all before 2 o'clock. That is the rule. Here is the part 1 want you to remember. Because the next item is what most people doing intermittent fasting and clean eating are getting wrong. They have the eating window correct. They are using the right foods, but they are missing the one thing that doubles every benefit they are working for. It is the timing of this single nutrient pair. And most people are taking it at the wrong time of day. The final item is 2 nutrients that work together: vitamin D3 and vitamin K2. 5,000 international units of D3, 100 micrograms of K2 in the menaquinone form, both taken with your largest fat-containing meal of the day. Vitamin D3 directly promotes mesenchymal stem cell proliferation. These are the stem cells responsible for bone, cartilage, and connective tissue regeneration. After 60, most adults are functionally deficient in vitamin D, regardless of how much time they spend outside. The skin's ability to synthesize D3 from sunlight drops by roughly 70% after age 65. Vitamin K2 protects the niche where stem cells live. Specifically, it prevents calcium deposition in soft tissues and directs calcium toward bones where it belongs. Without K2, supplementing D3 alone can actually accelerate arterial calcification. The Stem Cells Journal published clinical results in 2020 showing that older adults supplementing both D3 and K2 daily for 12 weeks showed a 43% increase in mesenchymal stem cell counts in their bone marrow. 43% in 12 weeks. From 2 nutrients taken together at the right time. The timing rule is non-negotiable. D3 and K2 are fat-soluble. Without dietary fat, absorption drops below 20%. Most people take them with breakfast, then eat dry toast or oatmeal and absorb almost nothing. Take them with your largest fat meal of the day: avocado, olive oil, salmon, eggs cooked in butter. Quick favor before I give you the full protocol. Check if you are subscribed. This is the first video in a new series. The next 4 build on this one. You will not want to miss them. Here is the protocol I promised you at the start. The 1 stand for documented produces measurable stem cell activation within 72 hours. This is what your morning looks like if you want stem cells to wake up. 7 o'clock in the morning. Black coffee with 1 tablespoon of C8-MCT oil. Nothing else. No food, no milk, no sugar. You continue fasting until 11 o'clock. That is your 16-hour window from the previous night. At 11, your first meal. Half a cup of blueberries, a protein source, no refined carbohydrates. Throughout the day, 3 cups of brewed green tea, the 3rd cup before 2 in the afternoon. With your largest fat-containing meal of the day, you take 5,000 international units of vitamin D3 and 100 micrograms of vitamin K2. Once a month, you do 5 days of fasting mimicking diet, 750 to 1,100 calories per day, structured around vegetables, small amounts of protein, and healthy fats. This is the protocol. Daily intervention plus monthly cycling. Stanford documented measurable biomarker shifts in stem cell activity within 72 hours of consistent application. In my 15 years of clinical practice, this is the single most consistent framework I have seen for reversing the cellular aging signs that older adults present with. fatigue, slow wound healing, weakened immunity. These are not inevitable. They are signals that your stem cells need to be activated. One red line, alcohol. Even one glass of wine activates the stem cell quiescence pathway within 6 hours. The renewal you are working for is suppressed. If you are committed to this protocol, alcohol is out, or at minimum, no more than one glass per week. That is the protocol. That is the science. And that is what your doctor was never told to share with you. If this video helped you understand something your physician never explained, subscribe to the channel. I post evidence-based breakdowns every week, and this series in particular is going to cover ground most senior health channels are not yet touching. Drop your age in the comments below. Tell me which morning habit you are starting tomorrow. I read every single response. Tomorrow's video is the partner to this one. Stem cells need energy to actually do their repair work, and your mitochondria, the cellular power plants that produce that energy, are running on roughly half capacity by the time you reach 60. Tomorrow, I will show you the 4 foods that build new mitochondria from scratch. The data is more recent than the stem cell research, and the protocol is even simpler. Do not miss it.